Hey, how you doing? This is Ethan Janney. I am a creative coach. I coach individuals, I coach executives, I help transform businesses. I make transformations happen through the power and magic of creativity. Today, I want to talk to you about how to evaluate if you're getting enough done. Okay, there's several factors I want you to think about here when you think about, am I getting enough done? So what's going to happen? Let's say you're setting some goals and you set some targets for yourself, you set some tasks, daily tasks that you need to get done, and at the end of the week, you come up short and you think, man, I was supposed to turn in that project. I was supposed to do that every day and I only did it once this week. There's all sorts of ways that you can find flaws in your process towards achieving something that you really want to achieve. And just remember, this is something that you are going to achieve, something that you can achieve, not just something that you want to achieve. This is the process of achievement. It's always finding places where you might fall short. That's why we keep reaching for something higher, right? So what I want you to think about, I want to just reframe how you're thinking about things so that you can have the energy to move forward on the projects that you're working on. So one thing I want you to do is, let's just take a week, for example. You get to the end of the week and you think I should have done A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z, and I didn't, and you get down on yourself. First thing I want you to remember is that you are good enough. One of the reasons that we get disappointed that we haven't achieved things is we get this feeling like someday we're going to be better if we achieve those things. If I get a better job, if I make more money, if I get in the relationship that I want to have. But the problem with thinking that way is you don't have the energy to achieve those things if you're feeling bad about not having them. So it's kind of a weird mind game that you need to play with yourself. You need to realize that you need to sort of have that feeling of fullness in order to get the energy to drive you forward towards the things that you're trying to achieve. So let's give an example of, I wanted to meditate every day in 1 week, and I actually only meditated one day. Or let's say you even just meditated 0 days that week, right? How can you possibly feel fulfilled and positive and have the energy to move forward if you didn't even meditate 1 day last week and you meant to do it every day? Okay? Well, here's a trick for you with meditation in particular. Did you know that a lot of meditative practices are merely about intention? For example, if you look at transcendental meditation, what you need to do is you need to sit down, you need to close your eyes, and you need to have a mantra that you're repeating and you're repeating. But the catch with that is, if you don't succeed in repeating that mantra, no big deal. You go back to the mantra whenever you notice that you aren't repeating it. And that's how the meditative practice works. It's much more complicated than that. There's a lot more nuances. But the purpose is to fulfill an intention of sitting there and repeating this mantra. And when you see the thoughts go through, you just ignore them, you return to the mantra. So how does that relate to not even doing it at all? You need to think about what you have achieved. You had the intention last week to meditate. In some sense, you could even think about that as meditation in itself, just even having the intention to meditate. The point here is that when you look back on what you have accomplished, it is very easy to focus on what you haven't accomplished. You need to pick out the things that you have accomplished, because that's going to give you the energy to drive you forward, and that's also going to help you remember that you're good enough the way you are. So what I've done here is I combined two really important points on how to reflect on what you have and haven't achieved. Have you achieved enough? And I'm going to leave that for the video today. Two really important points for you to consider. One, you're good enough the way you are. You're only pursuing these things just for the purpose of fulfillment in the future. The way you are today is great. Honest to goodness, no matter who you are. It's very true, and a lot of people wake up every day not feeling good enough. It's very common. But who you are today is good enough, and the things that you're reaching for are just to make life interesting and enjoyable. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be hard, but you need to think about it that way. And then the second point that I made that's very important is, in order to move forward, in order to drive forward, you need to be able to look back at what you actually have achieved. Right? So every day we achieve something. We get out of bed, we brush our teeth, we succeed in eating well for breakfast even though we didn't for dinner. And if you can focus on those things that you have achieved, then that will actually help drive you forward when you move on to the next week. Maybe you'll get some of that meditation done. Maybe you'll meditate one day. Maybe you'll meditate every day. But if you can remember that you have been powerful in the past and focus on the things that you have achieved, it's going to help drive you towards the things that you are seeking to achieve in the future. And remember, it's all about the process. The process is what's important. Okay, that's all I have for today on reflecting on how much you've achieved and how to do that in the best way to give you the most energy moving forward. And my name is Ethan Janney. Again, I'm a creative coach. I work with individuals, I work with executives, I help transform businesses, and I make transformations through the power and magic of creativity and creative thinking. Thank you very much for listening and watching today. I will see you next time.